Hi there. So today I wanted to share with you a little top tip slash recipe that I have for making granola clusters. So I sometimes, as you know, make a lot of granola and when I do, I've often left over quite a bit of granola. Now I'm not a huge granola eater, not a huge granola lover, which means that the granola lasts a long time for me. Now I do store it well, I always make sure that it's in a nice sealed Pilsner jar, but oftentimes when I'm maybe getting towards the end of maybe 10 or 12 weeks and I'm still working my way down through it, it can begin to taste a little bit maybe dusty, and sometimes that's just even because you've been moving the jar around, and so things like the oats maybe start to break up and it's maybe not as crunchy and as fresh flavored as it was whenever you first bought it or made it. So one of the things that I do then is I make it into granola clusters, and I'm going to show you today how I do that. Now it all starts with a manky banana. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the banana to add in some additional sweetness, but also to help to bind together that dry granola mix. So this is basically what happens. Hope you can see this here. So for that amount of granola, I'm probably going to use about a half of a banana, because I'm also going to be really naughty and add in a little bit of maple syrup. Just literally a smidge, and partly I'm wanting that because of the flavour rather than the sweetness, because the banana, if you use a manky banana, it is very sweet. So you can see there, literally I'm just putting that in. That the organic maple syrup is a lovely deep mapley sort of flavour, which I really like. So we're going to just sort of mash that in. Now I'm going to want a little bit of extra oil. Now remember that when we've made our granola, or when you bought your granola, there's already sugar and fat in there, so we're not wanting to add in huge amounts here, because obviously that's going to change the nutritional value of the food. But you might want to just have a little bit to help that kind of crunch up a bit. Now you could use some rapeseed oil. I used the rapeseed oil in the original recipe, but today, oh, this is a brand new one, I'm going to use a little bit of coconut oil. Again, because I just want a little bit of that extra sweetness coming in. Now, you could melt this, but to be honest, it's hardly worth doing, because, I mean, that's not even a full teaspoon. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that in as well. And then kind of just mash that down. You know me, those of you who know me know that even though I'm a cook, I don't love the exact science of cooking. That's probably why I prefer cooking to baking, because I love the ability to be able to tweak as you go. Now, this granola in here, I think, was maple walnut, so that does have a little bit of nutmeg that goes through the base of that. So what I'm going to add to try and just bold up the flavours is I've got a nice big bag here of mixed spice. Now, mixed spice, not allspice, okay? And I'm going to put in, it's quite generous, sort of half a teaspoon, because I'm wanting this to taste quite different, you know, be a different texture, a different flavour, to sort of wake up the taste buds, so I'm not bored of the granola anymore. So look, we've got this kind of lovely brown sweet mush in my little bowl there. Now you could take a big bowl. I like to save on the washing up. I hate washing up, so I'm just going to tip this into a baking tray. Now, one of the keys when you're making real granola, you're actually looking for a lot of space on the tray. You don't particularly want all your granola kind of on top of one another, but when you're making the clusters, that's different. So I want to use a tray that is going to allow me that kind of depth. So I don't know if you can just see there, if I make a little hole, you can just see the hole forming, because it's actually quite deep. The granola is quite deep in that. And then I'm going to put on, I'm only using the gloves because I've just had my nails done. Isn't that awful? And I don't want to muss up my manicure. So just then splodge, get every last drop of that sort of sweet, spicy mixture, and just, it actually feels quite satisfying to do, massage all of that in try and get it to coat every little part. Oops. And then just tap it down, almost as if you were making sort of, you know, like the base of a cheesecake or something like that. We're looking for this to try and form together. The banana, the little bit of extra oil, the splash of the maple syrup, just that little bit of extra wetness is going to help to catch some of those the little bits of the granola together. So we're going to end up with something that looks a wee bit more like clusters. And that's basically it, okay? I'm literally going, I've got my oven. I've got a fairly hot oven here. I've got my oven on at 170. I'm going to put it in there for about 15 minutes and then maybe turn it around the other way. It doesn't matter if it catches a little bit because I think that adds to the flavour. And then I'll show you what the finished result looks like. So when you take the granola clusters out of the oven, you'll see that they're going to be quite hard, almost like a cakey base texture. Leave it to cool in the tray. So when your granola is completely cool and you can handle the tray, then you can start to break it up just with your fingers, and you're getting these lovely, nice, big, sort of crunchy granola kind of clusters. And then you can just pop those back into your Kilner jar. Again, probably I'd say from this now, because we've got some fresh banana in there, probably only wanting to keep this for another couple of weeks really. But you will just have refreshed up that old granola that was maybe on the cusp of going stale. You just got a bit bored with the flavour. Make it into granola clusters, refresh your palate, get yourself back interested, and there you go. From granola to granola clusters, all it took was one manky banana.